This is a show where we do exclusive talks with successful entrepreneurs from all around the world. You hear their stories, their challenges, and advice that you can use when starting your own business. Take notes and take action. Let's go. Hi, I'm your host Angelo Genao, and welcome to Build Different, episode number 5, Copywriting Your Way to Owning Your Own Business. Our next guest is Hilary Jastram, founder of J Hill Marketing and Creative Services. This is an agency specializing in premier copywriting and book editing for Fortune 500 brands and superstar entrepreneurs. She's the founder of Sick Biz, an organization dedicated to providing support, resources, hacks, and hope to entrepreneurs affected by chronic illnesses, pain, disability, and sickness. She is also the author of Sick Success, the entrepreneur's prescription for turning pain into profit and purpose. Hilary obviously has a lot going on, and we were lucky to get a few minutes to chat with her. Stick around to the end for my top takeaways, and without any further ado, here's her story. Before we get into the talk, let's give thanks to our good friends over at Skillshare for supporting the show. Skillshare is a service where you can learn new skills online, such as filmmaking, business, design, or even photography. And there's over 23,000 classes from experts from around the world. Skillshare is honestly a great place to get started if you're trying to expand your current skill set or even learn and try something that you've never tried before. If you're interested in learning a new skill or want to see my top recommended classes for entrepreneurs, click the link below. The first 500 people that sign up are going to get the first 2 months for free and receive an invitation to our secret Facebook community of entrepreneurs. Once you sign up, you'll have access to unlimited premium courses, and if for any reason you don't like it, Skillshare makes it super easy to cancel within your trial period without getting charged. So if you want to learn a new skill and be a part of the first 500 people that get 2 months free, make sure to click the link below. Now back to the show.
I'm Hilary Jastram, and I have 2 businesses actually. I have a for-profit business called J Hill Marketing and Creative Services, and that specializes in copywriting, copy editing, and book editing. I have a small team of people, which is super cool. And then I have a nonprofit called Sick Biz, which the focus is to support chronically ill and disabled entrepreneurs and remote workers. Wow. So that is my baby, and that is the one that I'm kind of a sucker for that one. But my for-profit business and my main business is J Hill Marketing and Creative Services.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and speak about your for-profit business, your creative agency, and how did you go ahead and start that? What was it that made you spark that interest?
Well, that was I call myself a reluctant entrepreneur because I was forced into that position. I had a great job. I was working with a large regional furniture company that had nearly 30 locations. Mm-hmm. I was writing. I was doing all the social media. I was handling some marketing campaigns. It was just absolutely fabulous. Had a great job. And then I got sick. So I have a disease like MS, and I could not work outside of my home after that. So I was like, well, you know what? I got to do something. We've got to have money coming in. And quite frankly, I love the distraction because it took me out of my physical trials and challenges, and it forced my brain to engage and create and become productive and create value and all these things. So that was back in 2015, and I started that company. Kind of my marketing process was groveling. That was my strategy. Mm-hmm. And I coupled that with unemployment. So it was a tough year, but we did it. I mean, and I made almost as much as I had made at my salaried position. So that kind of clicked on for me that I could do it. And then I signed a national hotel chain. That was a game changer for me. Once I saw that I was able to do that, and then I came into touch with Ryan Stewman, the hardcore closer, who's now an international sales trainer, and I am his editor. So any of his blog posts, external, internal, all of his books, everything. And I didn't understand the impact of what that would be. Mm-hmm. I've seen him grow from like an impressive guy, digital marketer, to just multi-millionaire status, amazing growth, and to be, part of his team for the past 2+ years and see that and partially contribute to that has just been outstanding. And it aligns you with people in your circle too, where mm-hmm. you're like, well, I can do this. I can be creative. Mm-hmm. I can make money. And you shift from what do I have to do to what can I do? and you become really limitless. So
cool.
yeah, it's really awesome. And from that, I think at the point that we signed, from that point, I have edited probably, well, in my whole life now, I've probably edited about 50 books and helped people to publish those. Yeah, that and it was funny because this is a testament to listening and going after the easy opportunity and not the opportunity that's like, oh, the lazy opportunity. It's the opportunity that finds you. So I kept having people like, oh, you did Ryan's book? Will you do my book? Will you do my book?
Yeah.
And I had zero marketing for this. So I was like, yeah, I guess so. And when you're open to that and you take that in and you expand upon it, it's amazing. So that's what my company does. It's a huge chunk of what they do. And then I have some other copy clients that come in and copy in any digital capacity, email, web, banners, etc., social media, whatever. And that has been going fantastically well. And that's helped, I think, also by the fact I've been an editor for the Good Men Project for the past 4 years. And it's actually 4 years this September. So, in probably
Congrats.
about 3 weeks, which is cool because that helped me leverage connections. So all of this has been growing and learning and leveraging.
That is so awesome. Let's go ahead and backtrack a little. To before you landed your big client, what was that feeling like? Were you nervous? Were you confident? How was that feeling before? What were you doing to kind of market yourself out there? I know it can be very competitive.
This is one thing that I tell people to do, and this is why I started my nonprofit, because it helps people who are in that situation. If you lose your job, if your disability gets worse, if suddenly you have to work in your home, where do you even begin? What do your finances look like? How do you close sales? How do you network? How do you leverage social media but without alienating all your friends and family? How do you actually find money? How do you actually close money? All of those things, like there is so much on the ground, trial by baptism learning that takes place. So that's one of the reasons I started it. But for me personally, I come from a very hard scrabble background. We had no money. We had no support. We had I'm walking to work. I'm paying for my own stuff when I'm a teenager. You just have this mentality of I have to make it work. There was no choice. So if somebody said no, I'm going to the next person. I'm going to the next person. I'm going to the next person. I don't have time to sit and reflect on rejection. I don't really care what that means. I don't care what the reason is. I just know I'm learning from each rejection and I'm moving forward. And so there just was no choice. It was we're not going to lose our house, because we had lost a house like a couple years prior when I got divorced and blah blah blah. Now I'm remarried and I've been with my husband for 9 years now. So which is fabulous, because I had to get it together, man. I was like I did not get this together. So I think you just operate out of there is no other choice mode. You just, if it's not working, you have to do it again. And I heard something from somebody, I was so hungry for information. So I was very open to what other people had to say who had been there before me. What do you want me to do? What should I do? What worked for you? Asking questions all the time. I didn't have an ego per se, because there was no time for that. There's no time for ego that's going to, be self-defensive and push information out when you needed it to come in. So somebody said, 250 people. And we all do. We all do. So if you find yourself in a jam, 250 people. You do. And you're writing emails to those 250 people. And they're not template emails. They're not dear insert name. They are dear blah, blah, blah. We work together. Wasn't that great? I know this is weird, but it's been 12 years. What have you been up to? This is what I'm up to. Okay? This is what I've been doing. And I just want to throw my hat in the ring, and I just want to tell you, because you don't have time for pride. You don't have time for shame. You just need to do it. Out of those 250 people, and asking them, you have to ask them. Don't be afraid to ask. Exactly. What can I do? How can I help? Can we start working today and figure out the money details maybe in a week? As long Some of it's blind faith, and obviously you have to listen to your gut. If you're dealing with somebody who's like, oh, wow, he's a sketchy guy, then don't do that. Don't. Yeah. So just you have to get out there.
Absolutely. Was that your main marketing strategy, reaching out to like old friends, or were you also doing like cold emails, or were you reaching out via Instagram, DMs? What were you doing?
I would say Facebook groups was huge. So because that already you have something in common with people. And I was leveraging any position I possibly could. So if I was writing freelance, if I was blogging for somebody, then I would say, what else do you have? With GMP, I was like, do you ever need any help with formatting? Do you need any help with anything? You're always asking. And then I found my way into a Facebook group that it's called the Secret Group, and it has like, I don't even know, 40,000 members or something like that. It's just like centered on copy. And what I would do is I would look for jobs in there because they had job postings in there. And then as soon as you see it, get your ass on it. Immediately get on there. Like, hi, it's me. How you doing? I'm in your DMs right now. By the way, I sent you a DM. How's it going? And I can do this and blah, blah, blah. So I did that with several groups and also with recruiters. So I would talk to recruiters and say, hey, if you have anything for me at all, I can do it from home. I can't take these other jobs, but I can do it from home. And that worked. That's how I got my national hotel client. It was like that actually worked. So get a multitude of things, like you're emailing people that you used to work with, get in your Facebook groups, work with recruiters. I worked with multiple recruiters, not one. I wasn't like, I'm beholden to you. No, that was not the case. I was like, I'm beholden to you and you and you and you and you. Like whoever's going to pay me, that's where my loyalty is right now, because at that time, I was sleeping 16 hours a day because I was sick. So I had to do things efficiently as possible. And as long as it was on the up and up, I was like, I did not care.
I love it. Was there a moment where you felt kind of discouraged, or you just felt like you were doing something wrong? If so, can you take me back to that time?
Oh, yeah, many times. And there were actually times that I scheduled on-site job interviews. I'd get on Facebook and I'd be like, man, I tried this entrepreneur thing and it is not working. And so I'm done, and then I would make a plan to drive myself out to this interview, which driving is difficult for me. I have usually some level of vertigo every day. So it's like I'm walking on a ship. And driving is difficult for me, and then walking is difficult. And then if you have like a giant building that you're going into, a corporation, and they're like, yeah, it's 3 floors up, and then the space is 20,000 feet. I'm like, I'm dead. Put me in a wagon, drag me around. I'm dead. I can't. After I walk too much, the electrical signals in my body because of this disease make my legs stop working. It's not a matter of muscle or muscle tone or anything like that. It is a matter of we cannot send any more signals through. You are not even capable of moving. So it's almost like this weird paralysis where it's just done. And then throw me in a wheelchair and then I have to recover. So I had to get very honest with what I was capable of doing. And I went to one job interview. It was very promising. I was excited about it. It was with a huge corporation. And then I called the recruiter back and I said, you know what? I can't do it. I can't drive that far. I can't walk that far. I can't be in a place where I can't stop and rest during the day so I can regain the ability to walk. Like I can't, these are some very unique situations. Sometimes I'm so dizzy. It's like the floor is slanted. Like I cannot be out of my home. And so, yes, there were times I tried that and my body was like, I don't know what you think you're doing, but
wow, it must have been super difficult.
Yeah. And it's crazy, but it wouldn't change anything because it took me from where I needed to be mentally, growing up and not having people, or having people that were there and then they're gone, people teaching you conditional love. I had not had a real relationship I had not had a lot of friendships that were based on a good, solid foundation. And so I'm so much more healthy emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, I'm a little bit of a wreck, but emotionally, I'm great. We went to the Mall of America yesterday to set up my book signing. So at Barnes & Noble, and that was like a huge culmination of a dream. So it's crazy.
Congrats.
But thank you. It's working.
That's super cool. Let's talk about that. When did you start, flying solo? When did you start your business?
2015. So it's been like, 3.5 years.
Wow.
Yep. And it's probably, I've more than tripled my business in that time. And then, started the nonprofit, started the podcast. It's just been super fun. And I wrote my second book. My first book was a novel. It took me 8 years to write. It's called Killing Carl. It's written from the perspective of a serial killer's wife.
8 years?
8 years.
Wow. And you reached that goal.
Yeah, I don't stop. That's the thing. I don't stop. It's not an option for me. If somebody says, do this, and I say, yes, I'm going to do it, it's not an option. And it's crazy, but that is one of the biggest hallmarks of success for people, is that you simply do what you say you're going to do. Yes. That it's the secret to having good grades. I used to tell my kids that. I was like, there's no secret here. This is just do it.
And what would you say is unique about the way you do things versus your competitors?
Always value first.
Okay.
Value first, even before finances. And I know, and I've drilled into who my ideal customer is by this time. So the first year I lost like $4,500 in unpaid fees from people because I didn't know my ideal customer. The second year was like $1,500. The third year was $4,500. This year so far, nothing, because I don't make payment agreements because that's not my ideal customer. I don't cut my prices because that's not my ideal customer. It's like if you're not my ideal customer now, maybe you'll come back in a year or so, but you save yourself the headache of having to try and write off costs or, figure out, because you've already put in the work. So you've sacrificed the time to take on other work that might actually pay you. So it is not worth the headache to make all these special arrangements. Like either your customer is going to pay you, they're going to see the value. I also don't convince people. If my service-oriented process, relationship that I'm building with the client, if they don't see that, if they don't feel it, I am not going to take the time to convince them, because either they're on board, they see the value, or they don't. If they don't, they're not going to pay, or you're going to have a harder time. So I'm very service-oriented. I'm very hands-on. I don't put a limit on people talking to me. I don't say, you can talk to me 3 times by email, and we can have 1 hour phone call and anything. I don't do that. I don't even put a limit on the number of edits that we do. I say we'll typically go 3 rounds, but this is a good faith process that I use, and it works because I know my ideal client. And if somebody starts to abuse that, certainly I say, okay, well, we're approaching 4 go-rounds, 5 go-rounds, whatever the case is. I'm going to have to charge you after this point because I'm sure you understand my time is valuable. And unless you're working with a jerk, they're going to go, yeah, I totally get it. Your time is valuable. So it is accountability. It is caring. It is following through. And it is making sure that my reputation stands on those principles. So when you come to me, you should know how I take care of other people.
I see.
It's important.
That's super cool. Walk me through Wow, I'm enlightened right now. Walk me through your day to day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you hit the bed. What do your day to day looks like? Take me through the step by step process you do to build your business on a day to day basis.
My day to day is a mix of blocked off time for working,
Mm-hmm.
calls, prospecting calls with people. So either these are discovery calls
Mm.
or kickoff calls, or I've reached out or somebody else has reached out and we're trying to work together. And my day is long, but my day is also punctuated with rest.
Mm.
And so I live by my calendar. If it's
Okay.
on my, and that's super important, even blocking off the time. Some people might say, well, I just put my calls on my calendar. No, I block everything off. Like you're working on this at this time to this time, then you're done. I block off time with family so
Mm.
that if I give somebody my calendar link, they can't pop into our dinner hour. you know, I might have podcasts, but I try to remain somewhat flexible because I think that flexibility also enables you, and not crazy, but if I've got two clients on a day that want to talk to me, I would sacrifice a half an hour in the evening.
Mm.
It's not giving it my whole evening, but it's also saying I care enough and I am excited enough
Mm-hmm.
to work with you to make the sacrifice to talk to you.
Mm.
And that's a reflection. If you're putting somebody off and putting somebody off and putting somebody off, you're not excited about them. You're
Mm-hmm.
not excited about what they're doing. So you
Exactly.
need to answer with enthusiasm.
Yes.
It's very important.
That's super cool. Does any of your business become stressful at all at any time?
It does. I mean, I think that you have to have a particular mindset as an entrepreneur, too. It's almost like you must be possessed of passion. You absolutely must be, because if you're not and you only have this kind of lackadaisical, regard for what you're doing and you're not excited, you in my opinion, and I've never been anything else but this crazy freak of an excited person, then it's going to be hard. Those
Mm.
late nights are going to be
Yeah.
hard. Those early mornings are going to be hard. Giving up time to build your business is going to be hard. If you don't have a driving passion behind what you're doing, life is too short, man. I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love your attitude. And what would you say your most valuable skill is as a business owner?
I think my most valuable skill is just the ability to be open,
Okay.
and to learn from other people and to learn from my own mistakes. When I make a mistake, I've gotten past the point of beating myself up and going, oh my God, you made this mistake, this is terrible, you're a terrible person, whatever. What I see is invaluable information
Mm-hmm.
that I could not have gotten any other way. And that prepares me for the next time I'm embarking on a similar project. I'm going to nail it because I have that information. So I've worked very, very hard on myself in terms of being open to hearing other people, hearing
Mm-hmm.
critique. I love it when people critique me and they're like, you know what, I would switch this, I would do that. I'm hungry for that. It helps
Yes.
me get better. So I think people get very bogged down, and they focus on this defense of, if I'm not open to receiving this information, it means I'm good and I'm perfect and I'm going to be defensive. Well, that's great. That's also not coming from a place of core
Okay.
self-confidence. When you're self-confident in yourself, you get approval from yourself. You get direction from yourself. You're not in any type of codependent, crazy, freaking networking relationships. I'm good enough. I know I'm good enough, but I'm human. We're all human.
Yes.
And when we make those mistakes, we can either say, wow, I'm gonna take this chance and just beat the crap out of myself, or I'm gonna take this chance and get better. I'm gonna get even better.
Mm. That's a valuable skill to have.
Yeah, and it takes a lot. It's this mix of being aware, but then also caring about yourself enough that you don't beat yourself up.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I mean, you seem very happy. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the happiest, how happy are you that, you made the decision to start your business, and why?
I'm like a 54. I mean,
Okay. Why is that?
it's so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling. Everything about it is empowering. Every day I wake up and I go, what can I do? And I prove to myself what I can do, what my power is every single day. But it even goes beyond me, because once I started moving from what do I have to do to what can I do, then it became about moving beyond myself and my needs and helping other people. So if I'm not the greatest graphic designer, like I can passively do some things and whatever, and I understand branding. I went to, I majored in advertising and marketing, so that's fantastic. But I'm not the greatest graphic designer. You don't want me to do your layout. I cannot score this point enough. I mean, give me like 3 choices, ABC, which one do you like and why? But so I have a graphic designer on my team. I have a book designer on my team. I have other copy editors on my team. I have other copywriters on my team. I have a proofer on my team. All of these people, because every opportunity that I come across is not just for me. Now I have the ability to give away some of my abundance and some of my fortune, and that is amazing.
Wow.
So that is why it's a 54, because now I can touch other people through what I'm doing.
I love it. And if you had a chance to go back in time when you first started your business, would you tell yourself anything different? Would you give yourself advice?
I would. I think probably in those first days, I had a friend come over. She's working for me now. She's doing my social media. And I was just really harried and frantic. It was, I was trying so hard to get business in the door and pay bills, and I had medical things going on, and I was just a mess. I mean, obviously your emotions, you have no basis, you have no anchor for anything, you have no safety, you have no security, and you don't even know if you're going to die. I didn't get diagnosed for 5 months, and they were talking about, this could be a spinal tumor, and so you don't know. And a friend came over and said, okay, I know you're used to that paycheck. You're used to every 2 months somebody hands you money and says, it's going to be okay because now you can pay your bills. But she said, look at every day and ask yourself, do you have what you need? And that absolutely changed me. And do you know where I started? I started saying, do you have the coffee that you need today? And so, and that was funny because you get to be joyful about those little things. You get to be joyful about coffee in your kitchen. You get to be joyful about being on the porch with the sun streaming in through the window. You get to be joyful about being with people and connecting to people who have inspiring mindsets that will just blow everything you've ever believed apart. They will back up their positivity. There's actionable content you can apply to your life. You can improve your life. So what I would say is trust in your own ability. Because as long as you're trying, you will find a way. When you free fall into the trust of what you are supposed to be doing, you will find that abundance. And it's almost like a key. It's the craziest thing, but when you believe, it is almost like this key clicks, the door opens, you walk through, and then it's not just money that comes into your life. It's the right people, it's the right teachers, it's the right opportunities. And again, sometimes those might not even be for you. They might just be, oh, I'm going to pass this on to so-and-so, because the universe is one big link chain, this eternal kind of figure 8 link together, right? So if you have an opportunity, but you hand it off to somebody over here, it's not that they might give it back to you, but somebody else down the line you're going to get rewarded for that. Yeah. Try it. I'm not even kidding. Give something away. Give a job away for like $200 or something, right? you'll get another one in your lap for 400. Because not only will you get back what you've given, but you will get the reward back. It's freaking crazy.
Wow. And let me go ahead and give you a scenario. If you were stranded in a random city somewhere, right? You had no business, you had no money except for $150 and a laptop to your name. Those are the only two resources you have. Okay. What steps would you take to build a business or to make money or to start something new? What steps would you take with those two resources?
Well, first I would probably go to a coffee shop because they have free Wi-Fi. I've got my laptop there so I can eat because I got a little bit of money. And then I would start reaching out to people immediately. Mm-hmm. I would start researching them. There is the saying that you want to build your ideal list of people to work with. You definitely can do that. I think that is a more advanced skill that takes you from cold contact into warmer contact. So if you are stranded with no skills, I would begin reaching out to your network. I would begin searching for Facebook groups that are relevant. I would go onto LinkedIn, where the average person on there makes 6 figures, so you know they can pay you. If you want them to pay you today, then I would talk about ramping up. And I would say, great, you can take one of two approaches. I'm learning right along with you. You are going to see that this will be your advantage because we're going to learn how to do this together. Not only that, so you get the services, but now you're going to have a discount. So let's start working. You can pay me half up front right now. And then we'll discuss at the end of it when we're going to pay the other half, okay? I would also use that time to create your templates, store them in a digital file like a Google Docs. That's very important. We have to be prepared for opportunities. So when you do reach out and somebody says, yep, okay, I'm in, I want to do this trial close, I want to do this ramp up, make sure digitally you are on point. You've got templates that you can slap their names in there. You have got a method of being paid, whether through your bank account, whether through PayPal, Stripe, Venmo. And I recommend also that you set up multiple ways of being paid. Because a lot of times people are going to come back and say, I have problems paying you in this channel. Do you have another way to be paid? And your answer is always, yes, I do. And if they ask for, do you have a digital portfolio? Guess what your answer is too. I will have it over to you within 10 minutes. Okay, I will have all my links aggregated. Everything is ready to go. When you say I'm ready to give you money, I'm ready to go. So that's what I would do, is just make sure you have a networking forum, and you can do that in a multitude of ways with recruiters, through LinkedIn, through Facebook posts like we talked about, sending emails, start your trial close. You can even start today and say, hey, you know what? I want to work for you. You're a very influential person. What I'd like to do is advertise the fact that I work for you, and I'll give you a deal. I'll give you like a super, because then you get into their circle. You've asked them, please advertise for me, but you're still getting a little bit of money as well to move you forward. What's going to happen as soon as you're connected with those people and you become that person. So with Ryan, if he's like, hey, anybody want to write a book? Yeah, great. Okay. And then I got 10 people in my inbox that are like, hey, we're going to write a book. And I'm like, okay. So you're positioning yourself as the expert using multitudes of resources for every element. And you are prepared for opportunity at every avenue. And you're just going to keep working. You have so many hours in the day. You can sit there 8 to 10 hours. You can sit at that coffee shop. They've got the Wi-Fi. And the other thing is, do not rely on one thing, okay? I know we talked about that from a digital perspective. I mean, even from a Wi-Fi perspective. There have been people that have said, well, I'd love to do the work, but my Wi-Fi went out. Why is that not on your phone? Why do you not have something else that, if you want to do business with these hustlers and movers and shakers and grinders, they always have a plan ABC. There's no way that they are ever stopped, like something outside of their control says, you're done. No way. So you need to make sure that you have those things in line and you're ready to work with those people. If your ideal client is somebody that you want to pay you, that means they make money. That means they don't mess around. So you have to meet them at that level. If somebody ever says to me, do you have the software? My answer is no, but I'll have it in 15 minutes because I will download it. I'll take a YouTube tutorial, whatever the case may be. And that might be a situation where it's like, hey, I know I can figure it out. So I'm going to cut you a break on the price here until I get up and running too. You're always negotiating. You're always offering. And if you can't afford things, you need to look at, do I have more time resources? Do I have more money resources? What do I have right now? When I was first starting out, I had more time resources. So I would say, well, if you do this for me, if you build my website for me, I'll do all these blogs for you, or I'll do this edit job for you, so that you're still getting your stuff done. So leverage your resources across multiple elements, be prepared for your opportunity, and make sure you make it easy for people to pay you.
Yes. Wow. I'm blown away. And if you had one piece of advice for someone just starting out, what would you tell them? Just one piece.
Imperfect action will always get you more respect than inaction.
Deep. All right, and just to wrap this up, any last messages, any shout outs you'd like to do, any piece of advice, any last piece of advice that you'd like to give to the audience?
Last piece of advice, and I just learned about this, you know, I've worked with so many entrepreneurs and so many 1%ers who are making a difference and making a dent. 1% improvement every day. You can do that. You can improve 1% every single day. It's a very doable goal. It's not intimidating. And shout outs, obviously, to Ryan Stewman, the Hardcore Closer. Look him up. He's amazing. If you are able to join his mastermind, your life will change. It will change on the basis of the especially if you're in a situation where, and I read this the other day on Facebook, somebody said people are always complaining. There's so much negativity on Facebook. Everywhere I turn, on the posts, on whatever else, Facebook is a mirror. Facebook shows you exactly what you're engaging in. So if you're sick of negativity, that's on you, man. You gotta cut those people out. You gotta snooze them for 30 days. You gotta block them. You gotta have a conversation with them that's like, we can't do this. Highly recommend coaching. Because it tells you what you don't know. I had somebody look at my website. This is one of my favorite things to tell people. He looked at my website. He said, I have no idea what you're doing. And this was like a couple years ago when I was trying to do everything. I was trying to do strategy and graphic design and everything. I cut like 7 programs that very day. I was like, wow, this is the impression I'm giving out that he doesn't know what I'm doing. That's not okay. I'm cutting this immediately. And that changed the trajectory because it positioned me as an expert. So I would say definitely control the information that's coming into you. Listen to how other people are perceiving you. Imperfect action. And make sure that you come out and see me for my book signing.
Yes. How can people follow you, Hilary?
So the first thing is I want to tell you about my book. It's called Sick Success, The Entrepreneur's Prescriptions for Turning Pain into Purpose and Profit. It's a quasi-memoir, so some parts of my life, and then a lot of inspirational and actionable content that you can actually apply to your life. Questions you can ask yourself, where am I? How do I handle this? How do I turn anxiety into productivity, etc., right? And so you can find me on sickbiz.com. The name of our podcast is Sick Biz Buzz, and that's on any platform, iTunes, Stitcher, etc. You can also find me at jhill with 2 L's, mark.com. So, and I answer any emails or whatever. Find me on Facebook. I'm all over the place.
Well, I want to thank you so much for jumping on the call, Hilary. I really do appreciate it. You dropped a ton of gold for us here, and I hope you have a great day. Here are my top takeaways. Be open to information. Hilary was able to reach success relatively quickly because she was open to receiving information. She would ask questions to people in the industry, she would take down notes, and take into account what worked for them and what didn't. It's important to put down your ego and open yourself up to receiving valuable information when first starting your business. Be where your audience is. Hilary leveraged her network to find freelance jobs to make money and build her portfolio. She joined Facebook groups that were centered around copy and was able to find new jobs and connections through there. When you're first starting out, use the network that you already have and simultaneously build new ones. Get a mentor. Hilary highly recommends getting coaching because it teaches you what you don't know. Getting a coach will help shorten your learning curve and help you improve the things that you already have in place. If you feel stuck in business, consider investing in having someone show you their successful process so that you can feed off of that. That is all for today. If you like what you see, consider subscribing and press that notification bell to be notified when we post. If you or anyone you know would like to share their business story, feel free to send us an email in the description below. Today's quote: "Life's too short to learn from your own mistakes, so learn from others." Unknown. Peace.